Hey, welcome to Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant here in Blasdell, New York, of course, for the Thurman Thomas Show. Thurman, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Now, you know, we've talked before the show. You know a lot of people across Western New York, Syracuse, whoever's watching Empire Sports, have tuned in tonight to see what you have to say. You have anything to say tonight?
I got a lot to say.
Oh, ooh, I can't wait. We've got some special guests here tonight. It's going to be a great show. Stay with us. We'll be talking to Thurman, meet our special guests, and hear from our great crowd here at Ilio DiPaolo's right after this. Come home for the holidays. Come to Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant and Ringside Lounge, 3785 South Park Avenue in Blasdell, New York. And there you can see was Ilio DiPaolo. Ilio's standing right in the back there, and we already had a couple people get out of line, and Ilio put them in an airplane spin, and we took care of the situation. We're all set. Well, we have some special guests here tonight, so before we get started, we want to mention, first of all, Thurman, that earlier this afternoon, we're taping the show on Tuesday night, you had what has now been called the first annual Thurman Thomas Roast, and you had your offensive line here, and we still have Jimmy Richards sitting right over there. If we get a shot of Jim, we saw him earlier. We have a nice round of applause for Jim Richards. Where is it? There he is, right back over there. There he is. And you had the whole offensive line and tight ends, and we had a lot of fun. Paul McGuire was on hand for a little bit of humor, a little bit. And how did that all come about?
Well, I figured being in the spotlight, I wanted to do something good for my offensive line. I know a couple of years ago I gave him some watches that I thought was very appropriate for the situation. But now, since the beginning of the season, Ralph said that you know, this might be the last time that y'all see all these guys together. I thought it would be appropriate that I would go out and do something for these guys, considering that, you know, after this season we may make a lot of changes.
Well, it was a great affair, and I appreciated being on hand. It was a lot of fun. Now, you teased us at the beginning of the show. You said you have a lot to say, but and then we went to the break, and you said, I think I said it all Sunday. I don't know. I'll just throw it at you. What do you want to say about Sunday? What happened Sunday?
Well, there's really not too much to say about it. You know, as an offensive team, you know, we were struggling. You know, we wanted to put up a lot of points where we were kind of spoiled and get into it. We were, the fans were, everybody was spoiled about us putting up a lot of points on the board. It just wasn't happening to us, and a lot of players were not really pointing the fingers, but we were just wanting to know why we weren't putting up the points, or why were defenses stopping us so much. So, I mean, it really came all about one of the writers, Vic Carucci, brought up the old thing back in 1989 about the bickering Bills. You know, we were not bickering. We were just wondering what was going on with our offense, because it was such a potent offense since 1989 until 1992 that we wanted to know what was going on, because we weren't used to it. And Andre, Jim, myself, we came out and said, hey, we need to make some changes. We need to do something different that's going to make the offense a lot better. So it wasn't anything to try to start any controversy. It was just something just to try to get the offense going a little bit better.
Now, you clarified for me before the show why last week Andre Reed was fined. You were not fined. No one else on the team was fined. And seriously, and I'm starting to smile because he doesn't know where I'm going with this, but seriously, why were you not fined last week for the comments you made on this very same show?
Well, Andre was fined because Andre came out into the newspaper, the television, and he said that, you know, to the public first. And in my situations, I've always been a vocal person, and I express my opinion to the coaches first. And since I did it to Marv Levy, Coach Schaffner, and Coach Bresnahan, that was the main reason why I wasn't fined, because they know that, hey, I'm going to come out and say anything that I feel that is right for the football team. And since I went to the coaches and said it to them first, then came out to the media and the public and said it to them, that's probably the reason why I wasn't fined.
So you weren't being hypocritical at all? This was something you'd raised in meetings and everything else?
Ever since really last year. Well, ever since 1988 when I got drafted. You know, I've been that vocal kind of guy, come out and say what I speak, that's on my mind.
that's why this is one of the more popular player shows, I think, in Western New York, because you say what is exactly is on your mind.
Well, that's the way I think you can be. You know, you have a lot of fans out there that always speak their opinions about what's wrong with the offense and what's wrong with the defense and special teams. And I just think it's not an opportunity, but for the fans to know how a player feels about certain situations on the football field and going on with the organization.
At the end of the game, obviously you lost the game, you lost by a point. We talked earlier in the season about the fact that when this team loses, you usually lose big. You almost never lose the close games. And this was a prime example of just the opposite. I mean, you guys never lose a game like that at Rich Stadium.
No, we don't. And pretty much I can really, I put it on myself to take most of the blame of it. You know, the coaches put the ball in my hand at the end of the game, and I didn't come through. I fumbled the football. That really cost us to get into field goal position or rather to score a touchdown. So, you know, you can put all that on my shoulders. Like I said, the coaches put the ball in my hand. I didn't come through, but like my coach, Elijah Pitts, told me after the game, don't worry about it. You know, you've won more football games for the Buffalo Bills than you lost, and that made me feel a lot better.
Okay, hey, we're going to be back to I like what he has to say. We'll be back more with Thurman Thomas from Ilio DiPaolo's right after these messages on the Empire Sports Network. We're back here at Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant. Some very good food here at Ilio DiPaolo's. If you like Italian food or food of any kind, come on out for the holidays at Ilio DiPaolo's here in Blasdell. And I try to come out here. We play in the summertime. We go over to Ilio's house and we play bocce. Have you ever played bocce?
Never played in my life.
We'll have to, right, Ilio? We'll have to get him over there and play bocce. And
well, I don't know how to play it, but I've seen him play it, though.
Seen him play.
Okay.
I see. I excel.
I'm an athlete. I think I can handle it, though.
I'm a pretty good bocce player. The game against the Philadelphia Eagles, I watched them play against Dallas. This team, without Randall Cunningham, they've not won a lot of games, but they have still been a very dangerous, very tenacious team. And defensively, they gave Dallas fits. What do you expect out of the Eagles on Sunday?
I pretty much expect the same thing that you saw them play against the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to come in. They know that, you know, this is the Buffalo Bills. We're an AFC football team. They're going to try to come out and try to intimidate us and trying to dominate us up front with their front four, which is a very good front four. It's not the guys that used to be up there, Reggie White and those type of guys, but they're a very determined football team. They're struggling right now, so I'm sure they're going to come out thinking that, hey, this could be a big break for us.
You lost 3 out of your last 4 games, but I guess if you look at it optimistically, the game against the Raiders, it was really turnovers that cost you the contest. Up to that point, you're up 24-16. You were moving the ball again. Talk about, first of all, coming out in the huddle, which seemed odd, and then what it took to get the offense going. Well,
coming out and at the beginning of the game and coming out and being in the huddle was something different for us, and I think the reaction from the Buffalo Bills crowd at Rich Stadium was pretty good. They didn't boo us. They came out and just said, hey, these guys are relaxing. They're going to go in the huddle. They're going to try to execute a little bit more and better than they have in the past couple of weeks. And once we pretty much got behind and we started going to the 3 wide receiver, 1 running back formation, the crowd kind of got back into it because that's the offense that they're used to seeing. So it's something that, you know, it all went out the window the first play of the game when Nate Turner got injured on the kickoff return team. So we had to change our whole offense. Kenny Davis was in the backfield sometimes when I was back there. So our whole game plan just changed, but hopefully, you know, we can correct everything.
You guys still feel like you can do it and you can still pull it out this season?
Well, we're still feeling lucky. You know, we lost the game, then the Miami Dolphins came back and they lost their game against the Giants. So we feel like if we can win the rest of our games for the entire rest of the season, that, you know, we can very well win the division if we win the rest of our games. And only the battle that we will have is to see how the Kansas City Chiefs do for the rest of the season in order to clinch the home field advantage. But, you know, we're feeling real good about ourselves because if the Miami Dolphins would have beat the New York Giants, we'd have been 2 games behind, and we'd have probably had to win the rest of our football games, and the Dolphins probably would have had at least lose 2 or 3. So right now we're feeling pretty good about ourselves, even though we didn't win the game against the Raiders.
And I'm sure you must feel that you really don't have margin to lose another game. I mean, it's not mathematically impossible for you to lose a game and still make the playoffs or win the division, but I know there must be a sense of we've got destiny in our own hands. If we win the next 4 games, we'll be in good shape.
Well, it was pretty frustrating for us against the Raiders. Our offense didn't score a lot of points. We come out, we scored 24 points. We expect to win the football game, but it didn't happen that way. But it's kind of a sense of an emergency that we do need to win the rest of our football games, which I think this team has done well over the past. When our backs have been against the wall, we've been able to come through and win some big ball games. And I'm sure for the rest of the season you're going to see not an entirely different Buffalo Bills football team, but you're going to see one that goes out and plays hard every play, no matter what happens.
What about injuries? It was just one parade of injuries after another Sunday. Jeff Wright, Andre Reed, Mark Kelso. And I thought Kelso's injury was interesting because he gets a lot of criticism, but with him not in there, it was obvious the secondary was having some problems.
Yeah, it was. Mark Kelso was not the hitter that a Ronnie Lott or Steve Atwater is. Mark Kelso is going to be back there and not make many mistakes like a lot of people think he does. And he's the leader of the secondary. He doesn't come up and make the big hit. He's never did that since I've been here. So, we did have a lot of injuries. Nate Turner got hurt in the opening ball game. Opening play, but we expect to have Corwin Garner back this Sunday coming up against the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jeff Wright, you really don't know what the question is or how serious his injury is. So, but we've shown over the past couple of years that we do have a lot of depth on this football team, and so I'm sure Mike Lodish and John Perrell and all those guys, James Patton, they're going to step in and do an excellent job.
Strange back there with Kenny Davis in the backfield.
Well, actually, on the first play when me and Kenny was in the backfield, I was playing fullback. And I've been lining up in the tailback position for so long that on the first play that we ran, I went the wrong way. It's just,
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
I knew something was wrong. So you went the wrong way?
Yeah, I went the wrong way, but I'm not making an excuse. I should have known to go to the left instead of going to the right. But my running back coach, Elijah Pitts, said, "Hey, Kenny, you should have followed Thurman because nobody was over there. You should have ran with him."
See?
So I felt good about it.
Sounds like you're Elijah's favorite.
I am.
Yeah. I kind of sense that. Near the end of the game, were you cognizant of the fact that the cameras were on you for like the last time? You had the hat on sideways. Was that on purpose?
Nah. I mean, I just grabbed the cap and just put it on. I watched the game last night, and Todd Christensen, who was a formerly an LA Raider, called me a goat, and it kind of made me mad. But I didn't purposely put the cap on sideways or anything like that, I was more disappointed than anything. Like I said earlier, the coaches put the ball in my hand. I didn't come through for the football team.
Hey, we'll be back here to take questions from our audience at Ilio DiPaolo's. They'll get a chance to talk to Thurman right after this.
Come home for the holidays. Come to Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant and Ringside Lounge, 3785 South Park Avenue in Blasdell, New York. Transportation for guests on the Thurman Thomas Show provided by Giorgio's Limousine Service. For luxury transportation, call Giorgio's at 683-7455.
Welcome back to the Thurman Thomas Show here from Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant. Hey, Thurman, I'm going to give you a chance to introduce our special guest.
All right, my special guest tonight is a person who I've admired for all my life, who really got me involved in playing football, who's really given me the personality and the desire that I have right now, the one and only, my father, Thurman Sr.
There he is. Now, Thurman, I said to the crowd, you are the original Thurman Thomas. You played football. You see a lot of yourself in Thurman?
I see a whole lot of myself in Thurman. Matter of fact, I see, when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Even the words, talking. I did a lot of talking myself, so he's on the right track.
So don't blame me.
He's on the right track. So, but he speaks his mind and he speaks the truth. So that's all I need to hear from him. So.
But you told me you were faster than Thurman.
Oh, much faster.
Yes.
Much faster.
Do you have a question for Thurman?
Yeah. Are we going to the Super Bowl? That's all I want to know. Are we going?
It's a hard question to answer, but I can guarantee you one thing. You will have a ticket.
That's all I need.
Thurman, thanks very much. See, he put you on the spot. We'll have to run this tape over again. Yeah. Okay, first from our question from the audience, we have
David Guello from Chickawaga, New York. Thurman, do you think your fumble on Sunday against the Raiders costed the team the game?
Yeah. Well, I think it was a crucial time of the game. As Marv Levy pointed out, it's something that you don't want to happen at a particular time. But, you know, like I said earlier, I'll take the blame for it. You know, the coaches called my number and I didn't come through. So I put all the blame on my shoulders. And these next 4 games that we have, you're going to see a different Thurman Thomas playing football because, you know, we need these games more than anything right now. And like I said, we're going to see a different football team.
Okay, next.
Hi, Thurman. My name's Chuck Colesto. Do you feel any different about what you said on Sunday to the press?
No, I don't feel any different about that. I won't change my mind. Like I said, I'm always speak my mind. I'm always going to say what's on my mind. So I don't feel any different about that. I think the press was pretty much wrong where they put things into writing on Sunday, especially, you know, Vic Carucci, where he was trying to bring back up the bickering bills. You know, we're not bickering. We're not doing anything of that nature. We just were a frustrated offense that was used to scoring at least 30, 35 points a game. We wasn't getting it done, and we were just looking for a lot of answers. So to answer your question, I don't take anything back that I said Sunday.
Yeah, just don't repeat it.
No, I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah, I've got to say something as a member of the media, whatever. The only thing that bugs me is when players say the media or the press, because usually it's 1 or 2 individuals. But in this instance, you did name the one fellow you had a problem with.
Well, you know, I did name the one individual again, Vic Carucci. And
but Vic is writing your next book, isn't he?
Yeah, he is writing my next book. But like I said, you know, it's a shame that you have to group all the media guys into one category, you know. But I pointed out that it was a certain individual that did make a certain comment, and I'll be probably more careful with what I say about the media next time.
By the way, Vic does have a show on the Empire Sports Network, Pro Football Focus, Thursday nights at 7:30 with Howard Simon. So we just want to keep this going so everybody will tune in on Thursday. Next we have?
My name's James Scott. I'm from Lackawanna, New York, and my question is, how does it feel to have a shot at 4 times having the most total yards from scrimmage?
Yeah, actually 5 times.
Actually, I'll agree to correct him on that. Actually, it was 5 times.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to see anybody get injured, and Barry Sanders is a great friend of mine. We were at college together for 2 years, and at that time, before he got hurt, he was leading the National Football League in total yards from scrimmage. And it was just an honor for me to go to the same school as Barry Sanders went to. But now that, you know, that he's hurt, which you hate to see any great running back, especially, you know, being a running back, I hate to see anybody get hurt. You know, it's there for me to have for a 5th straight year, but right now my main concern is getting this football team back on the track of winning football games.
Okay, next.
My name is Rocky, and I'm from Hamburg. And my question is, do you think you're more effective when a fullback is in the backfield with you?
Well, Sunday was a great opportunity for us to find that out. But on the opening kickoff, Nate Turner got hurt. So the plans that we did have to use a fullback were kind of thrown out the window. But Caldwell Garner is coming back this week. As we've seen what Emmitt Smith did to the Dallas Cowboys last night on Monday Night Football, I think it is appropriate that we do use a fullback. And, you know, I used a fullback the entire time in college. So right now, the best thing for me to do is probably get another blocker in front of me to try to open up some holes and try to gain a lot of yards and put some points on the board.
Okay, next.
Tim Quinn from Buffalo. Who is the toughest team to run against in the NFL?
It would probably have to be the Kansas City Chiefs. haven't done real well against the Kansas City Chiefs. Overall, our team hasn't done well against the Kansas City Chiefs. They've always been a team, especially when we play down there in Kansas City, they've always stopped the run and the pass, our special teams. So right now, at this point in time in my career, I'll probably have to say the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, we have a minute to get 2 quick questions in.
Kevin Mann from Hamburg. For the past 5 years, you've been the best team in the AFC. How hard is it to keep your intensity up for every game?
Well, it's very hard because we know that every team is shooting for us week in and week out. As a test of that, the New England Patriots, you know, those guys give us more trouble than anybody in the National Football League. And like the Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets give them more trouble than anybody in the National Football League. So, but ever since we've been to 3 Super Bowls and we lost 3 Super Bowls, everybody's been trying to get us out of that mode to where we won't go back to the Super Bowl. So every team that we play is probably the toughest.
Okay, time for one last quick question.
My name's Heather Tiger, and I'm from Lackawanna, and I was just wondering, why do you shave your head?
Yeah, I noticed your dad doesn't shave his head.
Yeah, well, like I said to my dad early in the night, I've been wearing my helmet a lot more longer than he's been wearing his. And since I'm my dad's only child, he didn't really have too much to worry about, but I got 2 girls. I got 2 little baby girls who are 4 and 2, and you know how they can be. So that's why.
You're pulling your hair out.
Yeah, I just let it all go.
Okay. Well, I have 3 boys, and I have a full head of hair. We'll be back. Wait till they get older, Thurman. We'll be back to say goodnight from Ilio DiPaolo's right after these final messages.
Come home for the holidays. Come to Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant and Ringside Lounge, 3785 South Park Avenue in Blasdell, New York.
Hey, it's time to say goodnight. It's been a great show here tonight at Ilio DiPaolo's. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun, you know, with the roasting of my offensive line tonight, and just a great crowd tonight, and just enjoying it a lot.
Good luck against the Eagles. We'll see you next week at the Eastern Hills Mall.
All right, thanks a lot.
That's it for the show. Have yourself a good night and a much better tomorrow.
Thomas Show is brought to you by Fire Sale Outlet, Scotty's Used and New Furniture, and Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant and Ringside Lounge, 3785 South Park Avenue in Blasdell. Come home for the holidays. Come to Ilio DiPaolo's Restaurant and Ringside Lounge, 3785 South Park Avenue in Blasdell, New York.